While science can explain the craving cycles we have, which we have effectively made use of to engineer our current world, a spiritual insight shows how to truly step out of our conscious or unconscious addictions. So, an increase in dopamine can be seen when we are expecting a reward. That is, it raises before we get what we want and not after. So, humans in this timeline have their brain mostly optimized for chasing these rewards and not resting. For example, you feel excitement before checking your notifications. After checking, the feeling drops quite quickly. Now, this cycle it keeps repeating. So, from the perspective of silent witnessing, we see that the desire is a movement in awareness. The movement feels intense and close, but the awareness itself it's already present before the desire of checking the notification even began. So, if you can carefully navigate your attention from the object to the experience of desiring itself, there is a gap which begins to form. It's not a physical gap, but more like an experience of a mental relaxation. So, in that gap, we can find a simple presence, which is content and happy, witnessing everything without judgment. Now, this presence does not depend on any achievement. Every pursuit of happiness, it reinforces a sense of me who lacks something. Your mind will continue to say that I will be complete when I get this. So this creates a psychological time. There is a future version of you that is imagined as fulfilled when you are rewarded with what you are pursuing. So the present version of you will always feel insufficient. Our modern culture thrives on this structure. The metrics, your followers, income, status, each of this, it becomes a proof of your identity. But identity built on these metrics is unstable. It is a slave to the movements of these measurements. So it depends on comparison and repetition. A direct inquiry into identity will question the one who seeks completion. When you observe the feeling of lack directly, you see it as a sensation and a thought. It appears in awareness. This awareness itself, it never lacks anything. The sense of lack is an event within it. All dopamine-driven activity increases your stimulation. Something like scrolling, trading, gaming, or any of the unconscious or conscious addictions you have, it is because of the overstimulation which has taken place. So stimulation just keeps your nervous system activated, whereas the contentment we seek, it requires regulation and not activation. If you notice carefully, stimulation feels sharp and restless, whereas contentment, it is quiet and sufficient. As I mentioned earlier, our modern environments are engineered for stimulation. All the apps, advertising, and the rapid feedback systems we have, they are simply optimized for the purpose of engagement and not peace. From a mindfulness perspective, contentment is recognized when your attention is resting without seeking the next input. And when you stop adding new stimulation, your nervous system automatically it recalibrates. There is a subtle sense of enoughness, and this enoughness it does not depend on any kind of performance. It is simply discovered when movement slows down. While we attribute stimulation as a reason for the material success, that material success can solve practical problems. It can increase your comfort and opportunity, but it does not answer the question of meaning. The restlessness often remains after goals are achieved. Now, this is not a failure of success. It is simply a mismatch of the domains. Dopamine solves the problem of pursuit, but it will never solve the question of who am I? Though that question is not biochemical in the same way, it is simply experiential. So in non-dual inquiry, you examine the sense of self directly. You look for the one who is dissatisfied. You notice your thoughts, emotions, and sensations. All of them appear and disappear. And what remains is this constant awareness, as we have mentioned. So contentment is closer to recognizing this stable background than acquiring objects. So to clarify, contentment is not the end result of a perfect circumstance. Rather, it is simply a shift in your relationship to the current experience. This does not remove your ambition. Rather, it simply removes the psychological dependency you have on the outcome. You can pursue goals while grounded in awareness. The action still continues, but the inner pressure you have, that is going to decrease. Or in spiritual language, this is living from presence rather than from the lack. Presence is not at all passive, it is simply not divided against itself. And when attention rests in awareness itself, there is quite sufficiency which is within you. Now, this sufficiency does not require constant stimulation. Alright, now coming to related questions. One is, can meditation measurably change the dopamine system? While some studies suggest meditation can influence reward pathways and improve regulation, however, the deeper point here is not about increasing or decreasing your dopamine. Rather, it is about changing one's relationship to the craving itself through awareness, which alters the behavior patterns over time. And neurochemistry might reflect when measured. Another question is, if desire drops, will motivation disappear? Well, a desire as a psychological lag can soften without removing your functional intention. So, actions can arise from a clarity rather than the compulsion. So, that is the main goal. And many report increased efficiency because energy is not wasted in your internal conflict. Next question is contentment the same as detachment from life? Definitely not. Detachment in this sense means from psychological dependency. This is not the withdrawal from the participation in life. So your engagement continues, but identity is not built on the outcomes, as I have mentioned earlier. Now let us start with a simple practice. You can sit upright, keep your spine neutral, allow your hands to rest naturally. Now let us start with a 4-square breathing. Follow my instructions. Inhale, hold, exhale, hold, inhale, hold, exhale, hold, inhale, hold, exhale, hold. Now allow the breathing to return to normal. Bring to mind something you are currently pursuing. It could be your financial growth, a recognition which you think you deserve from your family members, workers, friends, anyone, a physical change you seek, a relationship outcome. Anything you are pursuing, pick one and bring that into your mind. Now notice this subtle sensation of wanting to reach a particular goal in this pursuit. Do not analyze the story. There is a bodily component involved to this subtle sensation. Just try to sense where is it located. It can be in your chest, stomach, throat. When you bring forth this idea into your mind, the pursuit, your body reacts to it. Stay with the raw sensation. Notice that the sensation is appearing in awareness. You are aware of the desire. It's a noticing. Now shift the attention from the sensation to the fact of being aware. Do not search for an image. Simply recognize that awareness is already present. Now ask silently without trying to answer verbally, is awareness lacking anything right now? Now remain still for the next few breaths. Let the breathing go into background. You remain still and try to locate this awareness which comes prior to that idea of a pursuit which you seek. Notice that awareness does not move towards the goal. Only thoughts move. Rest as the observing presence for one more minute. Now you can gently open your eyes. Remember, the point of this practice is not to suppress your ambition. It is to directly observe the difference between craving and awareness. Your craving is a restless movement, the other is a stable presence. Now, recognizing this difference is the beginning of contentment.